But I remember like the first couple shows I was doing, people were like, I wasn't expecting that sound to come out of you. And I was like, oh, really? Wow. And then
that sound.
Yeah, we performed it and I just had the time of my life and it sounded really good. And I was like, maybe I am good enough, you know. And then the confidence started to rise. I was doing more things. When I got a bit older, I was put into piano lessons and it was like classical piano, and like I love classical music, but I just didn't want to play it, you know. Constantly was interesting. I wrote it in about an hour because I was just so like at such a low point. I was like, I have no self-respect for myself.
Where do you want you and your band to get to? Where would you actually get to and say, you know what, I'm here? Where's that point going to be?
That's a good question.
Martins. Ladies and gentlemen, in the place to be, we have a special guest, MRC. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And before we find out what MRC is, people, we have a singer, songwriter, live band performer, amazing artist. She sounds like Michael Jackson, Prince, and any other person you can think of in one particular voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one and only Molly Roberta Chadwick. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm always good. It's good to have you on here. First of all, cheers for finally making this work. I like it. We'll sip to that. And of course, people on production, BK Creative.
We're in the house.
I like it. I'm MC Sabi Boy, your host for today and forever.
More things.
Thank you very much. So, Molly.
Yes.
It's a very simple way how we start this podcast. Korak actually means footsteps, and each footstep is defining the journey of every step you have taken in your musical career and your life to actually get you to where you want to get to. When you think about life and how everything started, what would you say is that first step you took to making things start to work for you?
I think, well, when I was younger, I grew up in a very musical household. And when I was 7 years old, I asked for my first instrument, and that was bass guitar. And I still...
You went straight to the bass guitar. You were hardcore.
Yeah, straight to the blisters.
Like, bang, 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 bang. Why the bass guitar, though? Why was that the attraction that you got?
I just, I'm actually not sure. I think I remember my dad would always have YouTube videos of like live bands playing, and it was always just the bass that would make me groove and stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. So yeah, I was 7 years old and I was like, I want a bass guitar for Christmas.
So when you say you grew up in a musical household, so mommy, daddy, siblings, everybody playing music, or was it just music was like a passion?
Kind of. So like my dad's a professional musician. He's a drummer, and my mum's a dancer, and that's how they met. And that's the extent.
Like, oh yes, that man was peddling those drums, and mama was giving him the twist. I like it.
Exactly.
I've always known drummers get all the chicks. I used to think it was the bass guitarist, but I think drummers. When you see, what's the name of that guy in Blink 182? That's always that guy. He's the most famous. All these drummers. Anyways, as I was saying, so daddy wood drumsticks, got mommy. So that's how they met.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
Rest is history. So, who else was in the music? You have siblings?
I don't know. I'm an only child. But on my dad's side of the family, my granddad was a composer and a pianist, and my nan was a singer as well. So I'd always spend like summers up there, and my granddad would always like make tracks and get me to sing to them and like teach me piano and stuff. And same with my nan, I'd always sing with her. And yeah, I just always had music around me, and I just wanted it to be my life. So
when you say up there, where did you grow up? Where was home growing up?
So it's always been Surrey, but my grandparents are from Birmingham, and so is my dad. So
Okay.
I've got Brum as a dad. So.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Interesting twang. Is mommy from Brum as well?
She's actually from like where I'm from, so like around Surrey kind of area.
So daddy was gigging, wood mommy. Mm-hmm. A few months later or years later, you came about.
Yeah.
So music has always been something you grew up loving. It didn't come to you like, some, oh my God, some miracle, some bed shot in your hand, and all of a sudden you could sing. So it's something you've always known you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So did you know you could sing, or you just wanted to learn an instrument at the time?
At first, I didn't know I could really sing. Like, I was always put in choirs and everything, but just as like a background singer, in a school, you always put in the choir. So I started off as an instrumentalist, and all the way up to college, I was an instrumentalist that kind of sang on the side. There were so many singers in my class that I wouldn't have a chance to sing anyway. I'd always be accompanying.
How does that even work? How do they, when they do like the selection process, Does it come with a lot of confidence? Do you actually tell yourself, I want to get to the top, I want to lead sing? Or do you just go, oh, I'm fine at the back here, I want to be an instrumentalist, I'm happy? How did you take it going through those different levels? Or were you just happy being at the back?
At that age, like, I was a very shy teenager, so I kind of just took whatever was given to me.
How shy is shy?
So I was quite mute, to be honest. It was only when I went to uni that I actually discovered myself, I think. If I showed you a picture of me at 18, you'd be like, who is that? But who is that?
You're one of those very...
Yeah.
I remember the first time we had a conversation, the video call, you were like, just literally just, hi, I'm good. I'm thinking, okay, I hope, can you hear me? It's good. So the shyness was something, but considering the fact that you wanted to play bass guitar at 7, you knew you wanted to do it. Not many shy people know what they want to do, though.
Yeah.
So was the shyness just... when you think about it now, I mean, now that if you think about it that you're not shy, what do you think was the issue? Was it just like, was it a confidence thing? What is it? Was being an only kid?
Yeah, I think it was a big mixture of all of that. Like, I was very shy and it was a self-confidence thing. I remember when I was about 15, I joined a band at school and I was like a really quiet girl, and then they see me on the bus bringing my electric guitar in and everyone's like,
what are you doing? What's that, your
who's
snack?
that girl?
people trying to understand. So you 100% certain music was the way forward, but you were shy.
Yeah.
And you say you didn't get to yourself till you got to university and then, open up a bit. But before getting to university, so most of it was singing at the back, instrumentalist. So how did because you have a very wonderful voice.
Thank you.
How I got to know about you, as I said, we're talking off air, and a friend of ours sent me a video of you performing, and I was like, oh, hello. I like this. I like this. And you do, you're one of those annoying people that when you're singing, there's no effort. So like, and you have a straight face. The police could literally stop you and you sing them to just release you. So you had that, that spark that came from your singing. And then between you being shy and college, what were those years like?
So like before college or like?
Yeah, before college. What were they as the shy Molly?
The shy Molly, okay. So just always from a young age, to be honest. Because I'm still quite quiet now, but not because I'm shy, it's just because I have nothing to say.
Well, you just sing it all.
Yeah, it's like I'll only, people are like, why are you so quiet? It's like, well, there's nothing to talk about. Like, what do you want me to just say something randomly? I'm very reserved, I think. Very calm, but watch how you speak to me.
Oh yeah. So there's a friend of yours that told me she's the most dangerous woman in London, even if she couldn't find her way here. But she says she's so dangerous. So I'm just saying, are you one of those don't mess with me, I'm quiet, but don't mess with me kind of girls?
Yeah, I think.
Why would anybody want to mess with you in the first place?
Exactly. And you never hear from them again if they do. So. Oh,
you never hear from them again?
No.
Oh, okay. No, that's good. So everybody knows I'm safe, right? This is a safe space. All right, cool. I like it. So, being quiet and then finding yourself as a person, how important were your parents pushy in the sense of, they're obviously into music. Did they try and push you in terms of discovering that voice, or they were just happy that, okay, she wanted to learn an instrument, so we're good?
Yeah, I think like my dad was so happy when I said about bass guitar, because obviously drummers love bass players, so that was encouraging. And then when I got a bit older, I was put into piano lessons, and it was like classical piano, and like I love classical music, but I just didn't want to play it, I wanted to do more like soul, R&B, jazz, so I was struggling a bit with that. But so I wouldn't say I was pushed to do that, but I was glad that I was put into it, if it makes sense.
Yeah, but with the classical stuff, it gives you like a foundation, right?
Yeah.
Like a foundation to broaden your horizon in terms of music. Did that work for you?
Yeah, exactly. And like when I was put into college and then uni, like it really helped, like with all the sight reading and just the foundations. It was really useful.
So where did your R&B love come from? Considering, I mean, unless your parents used to, I don't see your dad going, I want to grind and all that, in the house. So where does your love for R&B and other genres of music come from?
Yeah, so I grew up with it really because like my dad always played like Michael Jackson, Prince, Quincy Jones, like all of that.
R.I.P.
also.
Quincy
yeah,
Jones.
R.I.P. I was listening to that whole album today. Just he was one of my biggest inspirations. But I always just grew up on like disco, soul, funk, slow jams and stuff, and I just loved it. And when I first started songwriting, obviously I didn't know my sound, so it was kind of like really bad pop music. And I was like, maybe I'm not meant to be a songwriter. And then I kept working and working, I found my sound. And that's where the soul sound really came from.
So with the songwriting, considering, so when did you discover your voice? When did you discover that I can actually sing and I don't want to be at the back anymore? When did it come out that, you know what, I can actually do this? Did you find this before you started songwriting, or you started songwriting before you found, you know, the voice that you have?
I started songwriting before I found that I could actually be a lead singer. It was in college. I remember there was an assignment and I got put with two singers that weren't amazing with their theory or anything, so I had to like arrange the vocals and stuff for it. And I was given the higher harmony, and we sang The Chain with Fleetwood Mac, and yeah, we performed it, and I just had the time of my life, and it sounded really good, and I was like, maybe I am good enough, you know. And then the confidence started to rise. I was doing more things, and yeah, so
when you say the confidence started to rise, is it because you enjoyed the show, or you actually felt I can sing?
It was both, 100%. I kind of had the realization, like, I don't sound too bad. And then...
Why did you even think you sounded bad in the first place? I'm terrible at singing. Blessing has heard me rip some terrible, wonderful notes. Like, sometimes the whole camera wants to fall. So I definitely know I cannot sing. I sound bad. But with you that love music so much and the way you sing, why do you actually... Or once again, does it come from the shy, no confidence? Why do you actually... or were you comparing yourself to the lead singers that they had?
Yeah, I think so. And also, like, my dad is quite critical in the best way possible. He never told me I was bad or anything, but he'd always, like, show me the best of the best. So I'd always be listening to that, and then obviously I would hear myself and be like, it's not that level, but obviously it shouldn't be at like 14 years of age, you know. So it was always like quite self-critical, but I didn't really allow myself that space to grow and actually work on it. I didn't realize you couldn't just have it straight away, you know. It takes work. So
with finding your voice in music and understanding certain things, I believe a lot of things that happen outside of music contribute to the person you are. So who was Molly, apart from being shy and loving to carry her big bass guitar, what was Molly like? Were you in a girl group? Were you beating up all the boys? You know, that kind of stuff. What were you like? What would you say you were like without music?
Without music? That's actually a really good question. I don't even know.
I do a podcast. So I just once in a while a good question comes out. So who's Molly without music?
I actually don't know how to answer that because I've made it my life. I can't even give you an answer.
So when you went to college, you studied music.
Yeah.
What exactly was your degree?
So my degree was like contemporary music performance and production, but I did kind of specialized in songwriting and studio. So it's more just making music. But I'd always be in like performance bands, like playing bass for them or like guitar, backing vocals. So I still got to perform and everything. And that's how I met my fabulous band that I have now, and like the amazing friends I have and connections and everything. So honestly, it's all uni. I'm just really thankful for.
When you think about it, let's try and break down Molly without music. What do you like to do when you're not singing or in the studio or, you know, entertaining people? What's your go-to thing?
I love to paint. Yeah, I was actually going to do art, like fine art, at university.
Another thing I'm terrible at, but sorry, so you like to paint. Do you still paint now?
Yes, I try to, not as much, but I would love to do it more. Yeah, it used to be a job of mine as well. People used to pay me to like draw their pets and stuff.
Okay.
So it might be a good thing to start back up again to get some extra money.
Okay. So apart from pets, what else did you draw? Were there like nude pictures? I'm sorry, my mind just walks on. I'm sorry, man. Because I have at some point I have to go through like a midlife crisis. But although I do believe that you need to have money to go through a midlife crisis, because people buy Ferraris and stuff. I can't even buy an Oyster card, so I don't have enough money. But my plan is to midlife crisis, buy a Ferrari, wear a house robe, and get someone to paint me while I'm drinking whiskey.
Nice.
How much would you charge me?
Do it for free.
I like it. Well, interestingly, because obviously you're doing the Korak live music events, November 28th, people buy your tickets and all that good stuff. Bring a friend and all your cats. the one of the things that people like to understand is the story behind the individual. So we know you like fine arts. Obviously, music is your life. And we can probably say from when you were 7, you knew this is what I want to get to. These are the heights I want to get to. But what were the ups and downs that you had to go through growing up in terms of things that were not into music? So even if you found yourself in college, how did you start forming Molly Chadwick, the singer, and then now the leader of the band that you have? How did that start coming together?
So obviously, like when I started writing from like I was about 12, I think I was like, imagine singing this on stage, you know, to a crowd. Little did I know that I do that now and get paid to do it and everything, which is amazing. I'm so thankful. But yeah, I kept writing songs, and I didn't know that would actually help me now. Like I'd have a catalogue of songs. And I remember I would just sit in a classroom and my music teacher would listen to me like write and everything. But I'd be really reserved in music class because everyone was so loud and I just wouldn't play anything. And then that all kind of built up and I was like, I'm sick of being quiet. Like, why can't people hear me? Why can't people listen to me? Why have I got to be quiet for them? And it was just a build up of that throughout the years, like even at college when I was just a background musician. I was like, I am good enough. Why can't I be leading this band? And sometimes even if the singer would go to the loo during rehearsal, I'd take the mic and I'd sing with the band. And it was just great. It was such a nice feeling. It's like the best feeling to me. Yeah, I just kept working on that. And then once uni was coming to an end, I was like, what am I going to do when I graduate? Because all I have is like a little part-time job making coffee, you know. My degree was taking up most of my time. So I was like, I've got my friends that have literally said they would be willing to be in a band with me. And obviously I can't pay them a lot. Like obviously I split whatever I make from the gigs. But they're willing to do it for such little money. And I just thought, yeah, let's do it. What am I waiting for? It's literally like life is so precious and time is so precious. What am I waiting for? So I did it. I got the first band gig and then it all just snowballed from there. And then I had that slightly viral video on TikTok, even though that was just me and the guitar. And then there's been a lot more bookings, a lot more interest and everything. And it's just mad how it's all just snowballed.
Well, good things come to those who wait, and good things come to those who take the mic during rehearsals, clearly, which is good. I mean, the TikTok video is viral. Even as I said, I wasn't on TikTok, but somebody that was on TikTok sent it to me. So clearly, you're doing the right things. But the 100%. I mean, in terms of you, I know you like the party. I've seen your videos on Instagram. I see you. I know you say you're quiet and you're just standing there and being quiet. But you like the party. So, in terms of what have been like your major distractions when you're trying to move forward? Boys, girls, cats, dogs. What relationships? What are the things that have kind of tried to distract you from your path?
Distraction, I think, is I've experienced a bit of disrespect recently. And I am quite reserved and calm, and I'm very good at communication and everything. But if I'm
sorry,
not on the phone,
okay, cool. Just checking. You are very good at communication. Okay.
In person,
okay.
But yeah, if anyone ever disrespects me, it's like a flip switches. Like. So
what happened recently that you said you were disrespected? Did somebody like troll you or something?
Yeah, there's been a couple instances. Like I'm in another band. I won't go too into it. There was an issue with like a girl that wanted to sleep with the lead singer, and she'd can I swear on this show?
Feel free, express yourself. Express yourself.
But I remember like the lead singer was talking about her working with me because I'm a producer as well. And I was like, sure, that would be great. And then she turned to me and was like, what the fuck does Molly know? And then turned away and tried to, it's like, and then
one of those people.
Yeah, and I just like went crazy.
She's alive now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just in case the police is looking for a dead body. You know what? Don't want people coming in here. So would you say, in terms of considering the fact of how you've gone from shy to confidence, and as you say you have a flip, do you wait for things to like boil, and then you just snap? Or it's just, you know, if you are good at communication, that means you speak your mind, right? So, yeah. Or is there a situation that things like get to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for everyone, life can sometimes just get a bit like, whoa, you know. But if I ever see something, you know, something that just I don't slightly like, I'll say it straight away. Because then if I just let it build and build, that's no good for anyone. You know, if someone just says something slightly wrong, I'll be like, I didn't like that. Why did you say that? And they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. And it's sorted.
It's good though when you say these things or you put them in the forefront. It's easier to deal with instead of keeping it in your heart and all that good stuff. So how did your band come about? You just said that walking through university, they decided we'll play for you, we'll follow you, oh great one. And so how did that all come together? Because I've listened to your band. It looks like it's like her band members. Forgive me because I'm hoping I can work with them soon. But they look like, what's the name of that TV show? The In-Betweeners? No.
In-Between.
No, what's the one with the smart guys? The guys that are always smart and... Big Bang Theory. It's like Big Bang Theory in the studio. That's what it looked like. The guy that I loved the most was the pianist, man.
Oh, he's great.
He looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. But he's like proper... I'm pretty certain he won't watch this, but unless Molly rats me out. But yeah, he's wonderful band. And then Molly talks about being shy and all that. But the way they started that show was the band is playing and then they start playing and she comes up with like a stride, that I own this stage kind of thing. I was telling him how good you are. He didn't believe me, so hopefully he will. Hopefully he'll see how good you are. You see how good you are on the day.
It's taken him 20 minutes to lie about me. That's a record for him. Normally he does it quite quickly, but he's longed it out today. But that's a lie.
So how did the band come together? How did they decide that this was going to happen?
Yeah, so I was actually playing bass in like a recital, excuse me, for my best friend. Like she was doing a vocal recital, and I was just playing bass, and her drummer is now my drummer. Her guitarist is now my bass player, and another one of my good friends is now my guitarist. And Lawrence, my keys player that you love so much.
Oh yes, that's my guy.
He was also playing keys for my friends. So, and they all liked my music because they'd all like seen my social media pages and everything, and I'd also like play them some new stuff like in rehearsal sometimes, and they would just jam it out and they would have some fun. They really liked the music. And then I remember on recital day, I was a bit tipsy, I won't lie, but they were all around and I was like, hey guys, do you want to just start a band with my music? And they were so down. But I thought it was
tipsy
like...
as well?
Yeah.
Okay. That usually helps sometimes. That usually helps.
And I messaged them the next day, I was like, do you actually want to do it? Or were you just a bit drunk? But they were down. And so...
You guys seem like you've had a good amount of gigs, at least so far for what I've been following. And do you all live in the same area, or it's okay some people live in London? Where about how scattered are you as a band?
It's quite scattered. I mean, my keys player, drummer, and bass player, they all live in London.
Okay.
But me, I live in Surrey. My guitarist lives in like near Brighton, like Haywards Heath. But it's still like quite easy to get into London from train. It's only about an hour tops, so it's not too bad. It's not like we're in Edinburgh or anything. But
I mean, you could get fringe if you're in Edinburgh.
I could get fringe.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe next year. Maybe next year.
Hopefully.
The way you're going viral. And after Korak, people, buy your tickets. Edinburgh is the way forward. So you have a good band. You have good friends. One of your friends sold me your merch. She tried to rip me off, people. But
she's a great saleswoman.
She's all right. She's all right. So with all that you have putting together and everything that is happening, what is the goal? Because Korak, destination established by that first step. We know the first step you took at 7 years old you want to do. Where do you want you and your band to get to? Where would you actually get to and say, you know what, I'm here? Where's that point going to be?
That's a good question, because I even feel that now, even though I'm not like being paid a lot, I'm not like, I'm doing like smaller gigs, but I'm doing the jazz festival this month.
Oh, nice.
And I remember last year I was out with my partner and I saw the sign for the jazz festival. I was like, I'm going to play that one day. And just like a year later, I'm like, wow, I'm playing it.
Manifestation. I like it.
Yeah, literally.
I like it.
But from that video on TikTok, I've had so much interest. Like I've got a potential manager. I've got quite a few labels that are interested, but they're all waiting for me to finish my EP. Watch out for my EP, guys.
Oh yeah. So when is your? So I mean, on Spotify, you have at the moment you have Seductress, which we talk about, and On My Mind. I'm a stalker, people. I do these things, and I know you have a single that is coming from your EP, which is Constant. Which one of the songs?
Constantly.
Constantly.
Yeah.
I like it. So in terms of your EP, we're targeting 2025.
Yeah.
And how many songs do you think is going to be on there?
4 or 5, I think.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
But the thing with EPs, why do EPs just tease us? You give it like 2 or 3 songs. Because
just a little tease.
There's like a little tease. I like it. I like it. So we see 2025 being the year for Molly Chadwick. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned your partner. In terms of relationships, how's that worked? With you seem like you have been very music focused. One of those wake up music, go to sleep music. How's relationships worked in the past? Have they always been musicians or somebody in music?
No, so it's interesting actually. I've never like dated a musician like for a long time. I wonder why. But I always find like, because my life is music, like anyone I've dated in the music industry always has made it a competition, and sometimes like I love music, but
competition how? About like voices or I'm better than you, or come to my gig, stuff like that.
Yeah, and they would try and give me like constructive criticism, and it's just a bit like, that's nice, but I also didn't ask, you know.
Let's talk about criticism before you continue. In this space, do you find it easier for? So I love music. I'm obviously not a musician, but my passion for music has always been there. I host all that, get to deal with a lot of musicians. Obviously have a podcast now. How do you take criticism coming from me that's not a musician? Do you take it better than a musician criticizing you?
I think I take them both the same, because it's nice to like hear what a non-musician thinks about my music, because obviously like if I was to play a show and I was like, oh, I did a note that was like semitone off, like a lot of people just would be like, what? Well, it didn't sound wrong, you know, but a musician would be like, oh, like, you know, it's
we actually had that where, so one of the shows, this guy was singing, and shout out to McCoy, he was wooing us, and then he just stopped. Sorry guys, I'm going to start again. I'm thinking, what happened? He's like, I missed the note. I'm like, did you? Because nobody would have noticed. So coming from me, obviously we're like, I don't know the notes and how you guys balance a lot of stuff. But if I do go to you like, oh, I think you're better suited to X, Y, Z, does that hit harder in terms of what do you know compared to when a musician is telling you?
No, I still take it on board. I remember I had a gig and this like drunk lady came up to me. She was like, did you notice the songs where I wasn't dancing? And I was like, not really. She was like, you should be getting the crowd up dancing. I was like, well, it is a seated event. You know, I was just... It's like, thanks for the input, but I know she was drunk and everything, but it was still a bit like, you know, ow.
Oh, hey guys, sorry to interrupt your episode. I hope you can please subscribe, hit that notification button so we can get more and wonderful, incredible guests, and you can continue to listen to the Korak Podcast. Till then, more thanks. Go back to the episode. I mean, in terms of criticism, for example, so listening to kind of music, you seem very suited to all sorts of music. There is, you know, jazz, R&B, you know, pop, all that. Your voice or your style of music. What would you say is the best genre for you? If you could place yourself with one genre, what is that going to be?
I think R&B.
Why?
R&B. Oh, you've got really good questions.
I mean,
Why?
She came here thinking, well, we're going to kumbaya and just go home.
I think it's just the groove of it. You know, it's really like soulful but groovy, and it's like can be sensual as well. It's just like that mix is just like what I want to do, you know. Be expressive and soulful but also be a bit sensual. Mix it and just
I went through a period where I thought R&B was dead. I still kind of do, because I think like the original proper R&B, because most musicians are going to different things. So you have an R&B singer, next week you hear them singing electronic music, which is probably what their crowd wants or whatever, you know, people that they're following. Would you say you want to be at a place where you are known for R&B, Molly Chadwick R&B?
100%.
So your EP is going to be an R&B album?
Yeah.
Oh, like it. You don't have like Chris Brown on it, or
I wish.
Can I do a skit? I just
if you want.
Just talk rubbish like on there. I can see it. We can bash that chick that was trying to mess with you in the other band or something. Just could find a
please.
way. But please do. So not dating a musician for too long, but you're currently in a relationship now. So how's that going? That's a non-musician?
Yeah, it's really good. He's my biggest fan, and the most supportive. Like obviously, he knows I'm really busy. And a lot of people would be like, oh, don't want that. But no, he's literally the sweetest person I've ever met. And so supportive. I just couldn't ask for anyone better. So
Make sure in the part of this video you put like the and the hearts, like
Aw.
ding, 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 ding. They coming through. Wedding bells. I mean, if you need an MC, I'm just saying, just
Thank you.
during wedding. Maybe you can sing at your own wedding, which
imagine.
which would be so cool. Ladies and gentlemen, hi, thanks for coming. And you just sing. So with all that put together and everything moving forward, what would you say has been like your biggest downtime in your journey so far? What has actually put you in a position where you just think, what am I doing?
I think I remember there was like a staff member at the university I went to after I released Seductress, and she's like, "Who mixed the song?" And I was like, "I did everything. I produced it, mixed it, I sent it off to be mastered, but I did all the promo, everything." And then she's like, "Well, it's not terrible, but like," and I was like, "You're a staff member. Why are you saying this?"
Everybody has a staff from somewhere. So when she said it's not terrible, if Simon Cowell says that to you, would you have the same reaction?
Yeah, I'd be a bit upset, but I don't even know if Simon Cowell would say that. He would just be like, "It's shit," you know. Like, he would be more direct. It's not like, it's not terrible, but it could be better, you know.
So what you're trying to say, you prefer if she was a bit more direct?
Yeah, I prefer when everyone's more direct, because it's like, I'm not telepathic, you know. But especially with that, it's just like a bit of a backhanded compliment.
So that got to you?
Yeah. Not for long. It was just because I was really tired that day. Like, I work in hospitality to live, and I had a long shift that day, and I was just coming in for the other band's rehearsal, and she said that to me. I was just like, you know, why?
Well, that's good. I mean, if you think about it, that's one of your only down moments. I mean, things have been on the up, which is all good. It's all good. How does your creative process go? Because when I listen to your music, it is, we'll get into that when we go into the deep dive, but how does your creative process go? How did Seductress, for example, how did that become your first EP? Because you mentioned, one of the interesting things is that, so you mentioned, you like R&B, you like, the sensual part of it. How do you go from shy to sensual?
It's like a persona, I think. Because, one of my friends, she was at the gig as well. She films for me and everything. She says I'm a different person on stage. I remember seeing bands like that when I was younger as well. They'd be the nicest people off stage. And then they'd go on stage and just be crazy, like do the eyes and stuff. And it's just like, wow, I want to do that. But obviously not like rock and roll. It would be more R&B. So it's just more kind of like, I see Seductress as like the alter ego kind of. And that's kind of what the song is about, to be honest. Yeah. So
with your creative process, how does it come about? How do you, not just Seductress, like with your music, what do you draw inspiration from? Do you take it from other stories? Is this something that just pops into your head? How does it come about?
Yeah, so my notes app on my phone is great. If I'm ever out and I have a slight idea, I always write it down. And then if I'm trying to write something, I go through that list. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. I actually went through it the other day. And I saw a lyric that was in Constantly, and I was like, oh, that's how it came about. But usually it's if like an event happens, and I'm like, I'm sad, let me write about it. It's like my therapy. Seductress was a bit different though, because it's not a sad song, you know. It was actually for like my final project for my degree. And doing the songwriting course, we had to do like loads of song sketches and everything. And that was one of the song sketches. And I was like, I'm going to make this a full song. And that's how it came about.
Sketch?
It's just like, you got like a few chords down, you're just kind of humming a melody. It's just like a really rough idea. And then I put a few lyrics to it. I just had a verse and a chorus. I was like, I really like this. I'm going to make it into a full song. So I have like 1 million probably song sketches.
I like it. So do I. But I'm never going to do a song.
Why not?
It happens. My song sketches in the shower. Like a few ha, I'm not gonna bring up a song with ha and things. Besides, who wants to even master that? So I'm gonna be stereotypical. So you dress like a rock star.
Yeah.
You have that rock star flow, which I think it adds to your pool. Because say the stereotypical look is you have the cross, look good, and you're tall, which is, I know you say it's the heels, but it's not. You're like actually like one of them. Yeah, what are you gonna say? Kind of spirit. Does that deceive people?
Yeah. I've actually kind of, because I've always been kind of like, I guess alternative, like kind of rock and rolly. And I do like rock music, but it's not my main, like obviously R&B, soul. But I remember like the first couple shows I was doing, people were like, I wasn't expecting that sound to come out of you. And I was like, oh, really? Wow. And then
Expecting that sound.
yeah, and it's like recently I've like leaned more into it. Like I even get the band to wear eyeliner and stuff, which is great because we come on stage and everyone thinks we're going to be a rock band. Like for the jazz festival, it's funny because it's the jazz festival. We're all going to come on looking like a punk band.
I like it.
In black
like it.
and chains.
Deceive them. I mean, the show I came to see, it was a Halloween. You guys were all, dressed, and of course you're the only one with the band there. Because everybody will just go, hi guys, my name is, Rick Ross or something, and they're going. But then you guys actually came on, proper intro. So is that something that you like to do in terms of steer people in a direction of, okay, you don't know what to expect, and then bam, you're in. I like it.
Yeah, I love it. I love
like
giving
it.
people a whack across the face.
That's good. That's good. Korak could be wonderful.
Yeah.
Other than that, people should come down and be shocked as well.
Exactly. I'll come shock you.
Yes, please shock them. Oh, so with your EP, your band, how's that going to work? Is that you're all going to do the songs together, or you're going to do a band version, acoustic version? I don't know how these things work. How are you going to infuse the band in that EP situation?
Yeah, so basically it's all pretty much done. But
exclusive.
Yes. But
you had it here first, people.
Yes, it's coming. But quite a few of the songs like I'd done like years ago. So it's all me basically, and then like programming and stuff. Like I do love producing as well. But for Constantly, the more like kind of like mellow song, I was like, I had like programmed drums on it, and I was like, it just doesn't feel right. I needed to get my drummer Ethan on it because his feel is just ridiculous.
No, he's good.
I needed it. And I got my guitarist on it and everything. I'm going to get Lawrence McKee's player on it. That I wanted to be more of a live sound, but the rest of it is more, still sounds live, but it's more like programmed, I would say. It still has the elements, but it's kind of a best of both worlds situation.
So we're going to go into a deep dive.
Okay.
I like this because I like people to understand your mindset, where it came from, your music. So forgive me if I get some of the lyrics wrong because, my ears are not as wonderful. But there's certain moments I pick from your music, which I like to understand what was on your mind at the time.
Okay.
So after seeing your video on TikTok, you do some stalking, blah, blah. And then the first song I listened to was On My Mind. And it says, I woke up this morning, didn't know what to do. I looked out the window, baby, I want to talk to you. I know I annoy you. Hate thinking twice, maybe I bore you. Let's roll the dice. So what exactly, I mean, we can take up all the interpretations that we can, but for you, the owner of the music, and you are clipping out the lyrics, what inspired the music? What were you talking about?
So it's actually quite funny. I wrote this song when I was 17 years old, and I can tell through the lyric writing. But it was actually, it was one of my guy friends that I started to really like, which is really embarrassing to admit.
Why? What's wrong with him?
I don't know. I look back and I'm like, why? He's just like, why? But yeah. We'd like message all the time, but then I'd be second guessing like, oh, what if I'm annoying him? And then let's roll the dice is kind of like, I'll just message you anyway, like see what happens, Yeah, and it was over lockdown as well.
I mean, the song goes more into got me changing up my style because you have been on my mind for a while. Do I text you? Make up my mind. Really don't know what to do. Can you give me a sign? So did you actually tell him that you liked him eventually?
No.
So to this day, he doesn't know?
No.
I mean, he might know now if he watches this.
He probably knows, to be honest.
He never said anything, or he never tried to bring it up.
Well, I remember once he kissed me in the club.
Why are people always going in the club? What's Usher, man? I blame you. Love in the club and all that, giving
Usher.
people some, yeah.
It was
They
Usher.
kiss in the club and you were like, this is rubbish.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I realised like after, I was like, no, I don't actually like you. Like, I prefer you as a friend. It was kind of that phase. I was like, oh, maybe I do like you. And then like,
how does that even work? How do you go from I don't like you to, oh, wow, I might have feelings for you, and then, nah. Is it because at the certain time it wasn't acted upon, or and then you just like, I'm done, or with him it was a phase?
I think it was just because like it was a guy friend and I was really young at the time. Like I hadn't had a relationship, you know, and I'd always like speak to him about stuff and everything, and I was like, okay, we're close. Like maybe I like you, but then I realized I was like, oh no.
Did you kiss him back, or you were just like? Ugh.
I was kind of like, I was a bit, not gonna lie, I was a bit drunk.
Okay.
And it was dark, and then he came up to me. I had no time to think about it. And then it was just one kiss, and I was like,
what are you doing?
yeah, just.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You smell like onions. one of those.
You get it.
one of those things. Well, I mean, you can be grateful and thankful that he has actually, you know, given you a reason for a song.
Exactly.
Which takes us to Seductress, which is your first release, I believe, your first single that you put out there.
Mm.
And this was from a song sketch.
Yeah.
So I definitely didn't get out at this. My interpretation of the song is, or I couldn't find out, were you talking about yourself? Were you talking about somebody else you admired? And because one of the things, I see her there just across the room with all that power.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got it, she has got it. And then part of the chorus goes into aphrodisiac, they don't know how to act.
Mm-hmm.
Attention you attract, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about? Who's this girl that is, just by the sight of her, has so much power and is seducing so many people?
It's like two reasons. It could be me from like another perspective, or it could be someone that I'm admiring. But when I was writing it, it was just kind of this being, because I love seeing women with power. Like I just love it, and seeing like guys just fall for her when she's just like whatever, you know, she can get any guy she wants. And
Do you know somebody like that apart from yourself, obviously?
yeah, my best friend, she's a bad bitch. But
you want to say her name, or your best friend's name?
Savera.
Yeah. She's she's the one that people flock over all the time.
Oh yeah.
You always have that friend. I have a friend like that. He's married now, so that leaves more room for all the boys now. But then he was the guy that everybody. I have the same problem with Blessing here too. I'll be Blessing. Everybody wants Blessing. And when people walk up to you, you're like, oh hi, like hi, what's your friend's name? Like he's standing right there. Just talk. No. That's the problem I have with Blessing.
This is why he put me behind the camera. He said, I don't want you in front of the camera.
Yeah, man. I did before they see you eventually. Let them get past me or something. I don't know. They were like, hi, Jay. Just wondering, can I get Blessing's number? And that kind of story. So who would you say is a powerful woman, apart from your best friend? Who else, in terms of like celebrities or anybody you admire that inspires you? Who do you say gives you that feel?
I'm a big fan of Chapel Rowan at the moment, just because she just doesn't take any shit. And that's kind of what I try to live by as well. Like the video of her telling off a photographer because the photographer spoke really rudely to her. I was like, yeah, do that. And I think she went viral over a situation about fans coming up to her for pictures. I think the whole audience, had like an uproar, been like, well, should we just not come up to you then? But there's a nice way, I think, of asking for that. But I just love her as a female figure, you know. And also like my mum, like any like females in my family are all just so strong, and I really admire it.
Yeah, he goes on and says, I see you so many times, so often, can't get you out of my mind. I feel desire taking over. She has the world, I rip that at what I saw. See, this is you clearly didn't write this because of some guy trying to kiss you in the club. This was like, these are women I admire, and this is who I want to be.
Yeah. So
it is a seductive, sensual, but respect kind of thing. You hold yourself.
Yeah.
When did you just call it Severa? Why did you just call it your best friend's name? You should have just called it after her. So I mean, since she has that, I mean, you could always release another album.
I could do, yeah. It'd be like extended version Severa.
I can see the video now. Severa just pops up in the club. Oh, I like it. And then it brings us to Constantly. Now this song is heavy. It is this is the viral song.
Yeah.
This is the song that you performed. When you performed this, I don't know if you remember, there were two ladies at the show that I saw you, and you were like, you did your thing. Oh, thanks for coming. And they were like, oh, we saw you on TikTok. And we saw that you were performing. And we're like, we need to see her live. I mean, if they watch this, I hope they come for Korak. Yeah, but that song is a hit. Classic. Good song.
Thank you.
And it actually starts with, you said nothing will come from this. Now my heart is too involved.
Mm.
You know when you hear a song and you hear something, you go,
Yeah. It hits you right in the...
Yeah, like there. And then, darling, you play on my heart on repeat, running through dreams while I sleep, constantly over me.
Mm.
You described this song as thinking of somebody you wanted to get over.
Yeah, kind of. It's like being in a toxic situation, but you just can't get them out of your mind. Like, you're just so in love with them, but you shouldn't be, if that makes sense.
Is this coming from a personal point of view, or this is some experience that you had?
Yes, it's a little bit personal, but, we're past that now. So.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
But once again, how do these moments actually go from... I always wonder how people go from moments like not sure about a certain situation, a good song comes out, constantly comes from you're in a toxic situation, like, but I still can't get in my mind. How do you, because when you, like Seductress is actually, it still comes from a place of, yeah, I'm a bad, bad girl kind of stuff. How do you get into a toxic situation and create such a wonderful song like this? You said nothing will come of this, then your laugh got too loud. Oh, God, Molly. I like it. I like it. It's a good song. So how do you actually get from that to this in terms of creation of music?
Honestly, like, Constantly was interesting. I wrote it in about an hour because I was just so, like, at such a low point. I was like, I have no self-respect for myself, none.
Well, you felt bad for yourself from letting yourself be in that situation.
Yeah, it was just kind of like almost a love song to myself, like, girl, what are you doing? Why is this dude constantly over you? And I was like, oh. Came to me straight away. Literally all the lyrics are how I'm telling the story. Like, you said nothing would come of this, but now I'm too involved,
So when it started, did he declare that, look, I'm just here for a fun time?
Yeah.
And I'm not, let's just enjoy this. And you were like, yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or did you do that thing of, I liked you and let me try and woo you in and see what happens?
I was just like, I kind of agreed to it, but in my mind I was like, I can get you to fall in love with me.
Okay. Well, at least once again, a song came out of it. So.
Yeah.
So you wrote it in 1 hour and you're feeling really well. And when you were writing it, did you feel this is it? This is a hit here?
Honestly, no. I thought with like the songs I do live, I thought Woman of Mine, like the last one I did, I thought that would be the most popular, and it was for a while until I was doing more like, I think we're constantly like acoustically, I'd properly be like soulful, and like I remember the video that went viral. There was like a run in it that I just poured my soul into, because there was actually a guy that I used to date that actually came to that show, and about halfway through Constantly came and sat down just out of like just in my eye range. So I was like, oh, what? Obviously my friend was filming me and everything, and I was just really like, it was really heartfelt. Yeah, and I just love that song because obviously Seductress is great and it's like, yeah, power, groovy, but Constantly is where I really like get my soul out, I always feel a bit drained after I do, actually, because it just takes a lot out of me because I relive that situation every time. Yeah.
It's your passion when you go through situations and you create music. Do you get over the situation? And I don't mean do you move on, because moving on and getting over are two different things. You move on because you know you have to. But do you get over? Do you actually sing it and not feel it?
I think I still feel it, but not as extreme. Like when I first wrote Constantly and started performing it, I remember the first time I performed it, like I didn't really cry, but I had like a single tear like come down.
That's a Korak moment right there. Molly Chadwick cries during song. So you had like that moment where, but now do you feel it less, but the passion is still there because it's a good song?
Yeah, 100%. and it's just really soulful. Like, to be honest, at the end of Constantly with my band and everything, it's such a force that it's more like rage. I kind of turn it into like, why is he still on my mind? Like, why is he still constantly over me? You know, yeah, it's that kind of dynamic. It goes from like really sad, oh, constantly over me, and then what the fuck, constantly over me, you know. But, you know.
So, would you, when you have good time in a relationship, so your partner now, amazing guy, you've described him as wonderful. Do you get the itch to make a passionate song about things being good now?
100%. And I have, but and that will be on whatever I release after the EP. But I've still like dealt with hardships and everything like outside of the relationship and everything that makes for my more soulful songs. But yeah, there's some happy songs coming. I think my EP is a bit like, oh, is she okay? But
R&B happy, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, sounds good. Well, Molly Chadwick, thank you very much. We've gone through a deep dive. We understand your story. I mean, you were born for this. Yeah, you actually asked for Bass Guitar at 7, music family, going viral, performing all the live music events with Korak live music events, November 28th. You know, people buy tickets. I hope you're pushing them like buy. So it'll be a good night. It's a different show, different from what you've ever experienced. Trust me, tell a blessing. Trust. It'll be wonderful. But what else is happening? Your EP next year. What else is happening? And of course, the jazz festival. What else is happening in the world of Molly Chadwick?
So after that, like, once the EP is done, like, my potential manager would like to take that and distribute it like everywhere. Have some labels that are interested, and hopefully, I'm not saying definite, but maybe a tour. I want to get more support slots. Just anything to just push. Like, I'm so ready to just graft, you know. Yeah, and now that I've got this, like, it's on the up, I'm like, just so ready to just, like, you know.
Well, this is the point where Blessing braces you and blesses you with his question.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. I think I've really enjoyed listening to you speak about your journey. I've got a couple questions today.
Okay.
That's a shock to Jay because I know
I'm surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy too.
I want to know what moment for you sticks out in your music career. Like, is there a specific moment where you look back on at the moment and you say, like, this was like pivotal, or this was like monumental for me in my journey? Do you have a moment like that?
I think it was that gig. I played the Nate James Jam, and that's who I'm supporting at the Jazz Festival. Yeah, and it was a good show. I remember the audience were like singing along to me. I did a cover of Daniel Caesar's Best Part, and the whole audience were singers that were singing along with me. That was great. But and obviously the video that went viral from Constantly came from that gig as well. But I remember on my last song, my guitar fell off me onto the floor. I thought it broke, and everyone was just staring at me like, and I was panicked and everything. I got it back on, tuned it up again, played my last song. As soon as I got off stage, ran to the toilet and cried. But so much good came from that gig. And also straight after was when Nate James said, "Hey, I want you to support me at the Jazz Festival." And I was like, still like tears and everything. I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And honestly, I think it was that gig that just so much good came from. Yeah.
I love that. And then I would ask, so I think you've got like a lot of plans and a lot like lined up in the future, but what's the goal with everything that you're doing? You said that if you take away music from you, you don't really know who you are. But what's that? Are you ever going to get to a point where you can look back, or you say, if I get to this point, I can rest or I can chill and I don't need to grind, I don't need to hustle? Like, is there ever going to be that point for you, or are you just going to go until the end?
I think till the end. I think you should never stop working towards it, even if I'm like Sabrina Carpenter level, you know, or Chapel Rowan level. You can always keep working on your craft, you know. You can never just stop, I don't think. And I also love to work on it. You know, it's like a goal to just keep working on it. I would even say I've made it now, even though I'm not on like arena tours or anything. You know, I'm getting to do my music as a living and getting to share it with people, like doing my own original music as well. And people seeing it on TikTok and being like, oh, I saw your music, I heard it, and I wanted to come and support you. Like, that's amazing just as it is. Like, if that was,
Spread it, girl,
if
on
that was,
TikTok.
yeah, the rest of my life, like, I'd be happy, you know? Yeah.
And last, what advice would you give either your younger self or a younger version of you that's out there that wants to do what you're doing, is seeing what you're doing and is admiring what you're doing? What piece of advice have you like learned along the way, or something you've realized now that you didn't realize before, that if you could have told yourself or somebody else could have told you when you started out would have helped you?
I think just no one cares, you know, like life is so short and so precious. Time is so precious. In about 3 generations, no one's going to know my name. Like, you know, I dress the way I do now because I like it. You know, sure, I get some weird looks and everything. Like, I go on stage, act a bit crazy. You know, I just love living. And I think if I could tell my younger self, who was so worried about what other people thought, I'd be like, don't worry about it. No one cares. You know, I think anyone that's listening as well will be like, yeah, be who you want to be, because there's no one else that can be you. So
The place to be, MRC. No one cares. That's the message. Be who you need to be. Man, I should rap.
Stop beatboxing for you.
Yeah. I like it. Well, Molly, thank you for coming on Korak. It's amazing. We will see you at the live event. You tell more of your story and people get to understand who you are and get to understand your lyrics, and hopefully continue to follow you on the journey. For those of you that might listen to this, please buy tickets. Come down to the live music show, November 28th. But till then, it's been amazing. Thank you for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope you've had a good time.
I have.
All good, all good. Well, we're almost out, people. Big thanks to Molly Chadwick, our guest. Yeah, amazing show. And of course, hopefully, as things continue to become better, when you become a big shot, win that Grammy, you come back and continue to tell us more stories.
Of course.
Imagine we're doing a podcast and you have people out there going, autograph. I'll just pop into the camera like, hey, all that good. Of course, from BK Creative is goodbye.
I'll see you guys on the next one.
I'm MC Sabi Boy. More thanks. More thanks.